Hello, everyone, and welcome to my short review of the fan animation Astartes. Yes. A small spoiler alert for the beginning. This review contains scenes from the short film Astartes. If you didn't watch it yet, please go watch it before you watch this review, so you have a little bit of context of what we are talking about. Yes, that was the spoiler alert. Now let's come to the introduction. So today I'm going to review the fan-created movie Astartes. This review will consist of two parts. The first part will be me explaining some things of the movie so you have a bit of an understanding of what I'm talking about. And the second part will be my humble opinion on the movie. Yes. The entire series takes place in the universe of Warhammer 40k. I will not really go into further explanation on what Warhammer 40k is because it's a very, very complex topic. And yes, it's just, it would take multiple hours to explain it fully in detail. If you are really interested in it, I recommend you watch the videos What is Warhammer 40k, a beginner's guide from Luatin09, and every single Warhammer 40k faction explained by Bricky. We will link those two videos in the description. Let's come to the explanation. So the movie starts off and actually revolves around those superhuman soldiers that you see all the time with the big chunky power armor and the very fast reflexes and so on. Those super soldiers are called Astartes, like the movie. They are, as I already said, superhuman soldiers of the Imperium of Mankind. The Imperium of Mankind are like the rulers of the galaxy. Then they are really powerful and have a huge army, and the Astartes are like the special forces of the Imperium of Mankind. So they carry out special missions and fight in battles, and they are genetically enhanced to grow way bigger than your average human and have way bigger muscles and be way stronger. They are about 8 feet tall and weigh about a ton with all of their muscles and their armor on. And despite all of their weight, they have about 3 times the reaction speed of a normal soldier of the Imperium of Mankind. To put this in perspective for you, it is said that today's Earth could be entirely defeated by around 10 Astartes in less than a month. Yeah, so they are pretty insane. Then later in the video, you can also see two Astartes with white helmets. This basically says that they are in charge and a bit higher than the others, so like commanders. But I don't really know the exact term. That will also be explained in those two videos that we linked. So now we come to the next topic: the two beings in the big hall. And pretty much at the beginning of the video, you can also see two half robots. Half humans, so cyborgs probably, that like command the army that is fighting against the Astartes. Now, unfortunately, we don't really know who those beings are because it's not really explained by the animators who they are, but there is like a general theory around them, and I will explain that. So the theory says that they are psychers. I will explain psychers later, also in my review. And that they are controlled by the orb that we see later in the video. As you can see, they have like special heads and electronic spines. Their normal head and their normal spine were probably removed and replaced by the machinery that you see. Through that, they can be controlled by the entity that you see later in the video. Now I will explain psychic powers. Psychic powers are comparable to magic in our world. So it's like magic in the 40k universe, and it is called and considered psychic power. It comes from the warp. It is harvested from there, and their very powerful psychers can also control whole solar systems. So they can be pretty powerful, but they are also pretty weak and endangered by the warp. The orb that we see in the video. The orb is probably some kind of being from the warp. I will explain the warp a bit later in the video as we move on. The spikes that get rammed into it by the Astartes are probably some kind of communication devices that allow the headquarters and the two commander Astartes to see what the orb is thinking and feeling. Now the other psyker with the red coat that you can also see that who is hooked up to the machine. He is a psyker of the Imperium of Mankind. He can hear and feel what that orb is feeling and thinking. And those two orbs, they are communicating with each other in some kind of gibberish that I couldn't really understand. And the psyker eventually gets possessed by the orb, and he gets immediately killed by the two Astartes because possessed humans are a huge threat to the Imperium of Mankind, and so they get executed immediately if they show signs of possession. You can also see that the one smashes his head off, and then the other Astarte fires half a magazine into the body of the psyker. This is because with someone who is possessed and has psychic powers, mostly takes more than one bullet to be entirely killed, because there's a demon inside of him, and so they have to make the body unusable, so they just blast it to pieces until it's just nothing anymore. So now I will explain the last part, the warp. The warp is like a parallel dimension in the 40k universe. It is pretty comparable with our hell. The only difference is that instead of one Satan, the warp has 4 Satans. They are called warp gods, and they are constantly battling for domination and power over the warp and so on. So it's a constant war in there. And yes, there are also tons of demons in there who, as I said, control and corrupt and torture a lot of humans throughout the galaxy. So it is a pretty scary and dangerous place to be. You don't really want to be there as a normal human. And as I said, psykers harvest their powers from the warp. So as you can imagine, it is pretty difficult and pretty risky to be a psyker, because you can get possessed anytime and get killed immediately and so on. Now we can come to my humble opinion. So I thought the movie was absolutely fantastic. The animations were absolutely beautiful and very astonishing. I should probably mention that this whole movie was created by only one man.
Hello, here is Lucas from the future. I realized when I was editing this video that I didn't even say the name of the guy who created Astartes, so the name of him is Siama Peterson. I don't know if I said it correctly, so please say if I didn't say it correctly, but yes, that's the creator of Astartes.
So yeah, you can see on what level this is for only one man who created it. And I think the action sequences are very cool. They are very well made, and they feel very real and not fake. And I think there's also a very good storytelling behind the whole movie. The only point that I don't find so good about this whole entire series is that the lack of explanation around the whole topic. So, as you probably noticed, there's a lot of interpretation for the explanation, and there's not really a lot of facts on what the animators planned and invented for this movie. So, yeah, it is very open for consideration. Yeah. If I would have to give this movie a rating, I would give it an 8 out of 10. As I said, it was a fantastic movie, and I recommend to you to watch it, regardless of if you are a Warhammer 40k fan or not, because it is even if you don't understand a lot of the things, it is a fantastic video.